But all the stuff that you've already seen with the real brothers at SMBC, all the controversy, all the stuff that has gone on, I thought it not robbery to bring the brothers together so we can get down to some serious issues. Because just like they did back in the day, no matter what went on in their circle, what went on in the church, as brothers back then, they stuck together, and after they had their little bouts and their fights, they got along and they rekindled the relationship. So I thought it not robbery to bring all the brothers together so we can deal with some real issues that real brothers deal with, so that we can be transparent with each other, be real with each other, and at the same time solve these issues once and for all. Check this out, fellas, man. I brought us together as brothers, man. Definitely, man. I know y'all in y'all mind, y'all trying to figure out, why I brought this meeting. I brought it because, our pastor, he has a vision, and as brothers, man, I think like never before we need to learn how to stick together. But I think, with all us dealing with issues and us not being real and transparent with each other, it causes a whole lot of flack, when it comes to working God ministry. So, I just want to open up the floor, man, to see y'all thoughts, man. I want us to talk as brothers, man, and get some of this stuff out so we can help our pastor with his vision.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, I feel what you're saying, Reverend Smith, but like, I don't know. Like, it's kind of hard for me to try to focus on what we're trying to accomplish in the ministry when you have like personal issues. And my thing is this, man. Like, my desire is to, be in the ministry and do the work in the will of the Lord, but at the same time, I have another desire, and that's for me to be married. And it's like, when I hear a pastor talk about keeping yourself and refraining from sexual immorality and all that kind of stuff, it's hard, you know what I mean? And it's like, the word God said that when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing and obtains faith from the Lord. But it's like, I'm sitting up here waiting, and at the same time, it's like temptation is pulling at me, you know what I mean? And sometimes, I do slip up. Sometimes I don't. It depends on the situation, but that's hindering me from like really moving forward in the ministry and being on that level that God wants me to be on. So it's kind of like, at the same time, it's a struggle, and then also it's not a struggle. I don't know. I just have a hard time with that, and that's keeping me from moving forward like I want to. So I don't know what else to do other than pray about it or whatever. But I don't know. Maybe you can share something on something. I don't know.
Well, we all know that our pastor, he has the right antidote for us, man, and he gives us this advice for a reason, and he tells us this stuff for a reason because he wants us to grow. But at the same time, what you just said is being real, and and it's about being real and transparent, and that's what has happened with the brothers, and not just the brothers, the sisters, the church in general. We're not real with ourselves, and we don't know how to separate, our personal life, even when we're dealing with stuff and our temptations, and still work the ministry of God. And somewhere we gotta, be honest with ourselves and say, regardless of my issues and me thinking I'm not worthy, God wants us to work His ministry through all of that. And I think that's where we have an issue, and that's where the big problem come in at.
See, then too, the biggest problem is we really got to get into the Word. Like, we really got to get into the Word for real. Because, man, like Pastor Jackson say all the time, every answer to every situation in the Bible. But, we'll take time to kick it and go out to eat and stuff, but we really need to start studying the Word more. Like Pastor said, he need teachers in Sunday school. And we really the future church. And he keeps saying, hey, we the future church, we the future church. And it just hadn't clicked in our mind yet that, hey, we are the future church. So really we need to get in the Word, and that'll help us refrain from a lot of the stuff we tempted with. Because see, that's the thing, the devil knows each and every one of our appetites. Like, he know what we like. Even though you might think, all right, Jason married, he don't be tempted. The same stuff you go through with women, be dealing with the same thing too. Honestly, since I'm married, it's kind of a little harder. Yeah, because, I see women just like you see women. But, honestly, we have to get in the Word and really study the Word.
But see, this thing, and I understand what you're saying, but it's like, I used to be married too. So I'm used to that lifestyle that you live in now. So it's kind of like I miss that side of my life, and I feel like now that I'm not married anymore, I'm like vulnerable in a sense. You see what I'm saying? Like being out there, like I don't want to, feel this way. I don't like feeling this way. So it's like I feel like I need to be married. Because if I don't, then I know my flesh going to pull towards that way, and I don't want to do that. And I know I don't want to make an excuse to say, me being married, because I can still have desires to want to go out there and do the same thing, like you just said, being married.
Exactly.
And I just believe that it all boils down to really getting serious and getting that word as God to strengthen you, to help you, and He be that, that helping your present need at the same time. But, you're right, what you're saying on Reverend Smith and Brother Jason. It's just going to take a lot of hard work and prayer and dedication.
And I think that's the reason why Pastor always telling us to be in morning prayer, Sunday school, and things of that nature, because he wants us to grow in the Word. If we ain't growing in the Word, bottom line, we ain't maturing. And if we ain't maturing, we're going to have these issues as brothers. It's going to be hard for us to come together because we ain't got no word, no substance in us. And that's the key to all this stuff in trying to move ministry and move past the vision. We're dealing with a lot of immaturity between us and the church as a whole. And bottom line, just think about it. He's doing a marriage series. He's doing a marriage series because he wants to see more married couples. I mean, he's breaking it down for us. We can't say we're not getting it. It's all about us applying it and then, trying to separate the two for our personal life and ministry. And at the same time, saying the heck with what's going on the outside, we got to work the vision and keep it moving.
Okay, so I got this text from Minister Smith. He decided he wanted to have a discussion with all the young brothers. So I decided I'll just walk in and, just observe and, see and get the feel of it.
Man, this has been a great discussion so far. What's going on, Brother Lama?
What's going on, gentlemen? How y'all doing today? It was a long, hard day, man. What's going on? What's up, man?
Some calls?
Trying to eat, man. Trying to eat good, man.
Man, just to brush you on what we've been kind of discussing, man. We've been, talking about some real brother issues. But,
Right.
Pastor got a vision, and bottom line, man, we really suck right now. I mean, seriously, man, we dropping the ball. Our personal issues, we don't know how to decipher the two, personal with ministry, and pretty much we've just been transparent with each other. Talking about our own little issues we have when it comes to hindering our ministry work. That's basically what we've been talking about.
Right. I mean, I can see that because me myself, I mean, I try to put everything else before what God has already set for me. He's already given me a vision. He's already given me a path. He's already spoke to me, and I've already, told a couple people about that, especially pastors, about that. And it seems like the more I try to go down that route, I think I'm on the right track, and I find out I'm on the wrong train, and that's some of our biggest issues around here. I mean, we know we young men, and we gonna go through these issues. But the thing about it is are we there to lift each other up and push each other back to the right path, or are we just gonna, go behind each other and talk about that, or we're gonna come together and talk, dialogue together, so we can relate, because you might know something I might know, and I might know something you might not know. So, I mean, we need that love together, we need that bond together, but the first thing about it, we gotta be obedient to what God has said, we gotta be obedient to what our pastor has said. And once we do that, I don't see where we can fall at, because as long as Jesus is in the center, I mean wall to wall. I mean, if he wall to wall with us, we got no room for no other foolishness. You know what I mean?
And I think we got to be thankful as a group. We look at the foundation that was laid for us. Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, all these guys that paved the way for us, and we dropping the ball, pretty much just saying that we don't even appreciate where we come from. And I think starting now, man, and then for the future, we need to tighten up as brothers, because pretty much like Brother Jason said, we the future church, and we sitting up here playing with, a corporation that our pastor trying to lay down to us.
Then too, another thing is we have to be honest with ourselves.
I really believe that, like Minister Smith said, like as far as like us brothers coming together and laying a foundation, I think like really getting caught up in pride as brothers and not doing what we're supposed to be doing. Like we got kids looking up to us, and other members in this church, and like Brother Jason said, we the next generation, the church, and I think that in order for this church to move in a direction that Pastor say he wants us to move, I really think that we need to like let go of everything, our pride and us not wanting to do nothing, us not wanting to be to earning a prayer on time, us not want to pay our tithes and our offering, because it all starts with the man. Everything points back to the man. And no matter what we can come up with all kinds of excuses, but at the end of the day, it starts with us. And us being young men, we have to really get rooted and grounded in that word, because they looking at us. You know what I mean? Like, the youth are looking at us. Even kids, you're not. Even some of the young ladies in the church, they're looking at us. Because you got to think about it. Is that the kind? Just say if you had a daughter. You know what I mean? Are we the kind of men that we want our daughter to marry in the future? Yeah. If you really look at the situation, like, I wouldn't want my daughter to marry me. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm hot and cold. You know, the Bible says that God don't want us. He don't want us to be lukewarm. He wants us to be hot and cold. He wants us to be one way. And I think that's the problem. Like, one minute we serve God, and the next minute we off track. And that's how we all together as brothers fall off. And I think it has to come to a halt, because Pastor Jack can look for us to lead and be real men. And not, it's one thing to say you're a man, but are you a spiritual man? Yeah. We all men, but are we spiritual men? And we're not leading by example.
But when you talk about pride, the biggest thing about pride is the fact that as men, when we mess up, you know, Pastor always talking about facing it to fix it.
Right.
You know, we want to run instead of deal with the real issue. Okay, all of us are messed up and still messing up. And that's the spiritual part of it.
Right.
And if we spiritual enough, okay, even if you mess up, Brother Dree, Brother Sawyer, Brother Lionel, or Brother Jason, or myself, you know, take the initiative. Hey, man up. Hey, I messed up, bro. I'm sorry for what I did. It is what it is, and then we move on and still do ministry. Somehow we have a problem with that. Yeah. When we mess up or we mess up between each other, we don't know how to decipher the two, and that's where the pride set in.
Yeah.
And that's what's killing the ministry.
Another thing you touched on when you said how we have these problems, and the first thing we want to do, we want to, instead of standing fixing it, I think you touched on that, and we want to leave and run somewhere else.
Right.
I mean, I got myself caught up into a situation where I was in mess, and instead of staying there and dealing with what I caused, I tried to get up and run. But a wise man once told me, wherever you're at, there you are.
Right.
So you can be messy over here, you're going to leave over and go over here, you're going to be messy over there. Right. Until you change who you are, wherever you at, there you are. So no matter where you go, you're going to be that same particular person. So the first thing we got to do, we got to look deep inside ourselves and stop focusing on everything else outside of us. We need to get this here relationship right. Instead of worrying about here, because we get this here right, we ain't got to worry about this over here, because this is going to play itself out right.
That's true.
But the first thing we got to look at is what's going on between ourselves. I mean, what kind of thoughts that go through our mind? Do we fear God enough to do what the Lord says, to obey Him? I don't think that fear of God level is in there, because we do the stuff that we do. Do we fear Him enough to say, if I'm doing this, what if the Lord came back right now and caught me in this?
Yeah.
What would we be in? I think the fear of God is the main problem that we have as men. We don't fear Him enough, and that's the first sign of wisdom.
Yeah.
That's what Proverbs tells us, what wisdom is.
Exactly.
You know, and that's what we fail to realize.
See, then another thing too, a lot of times we get caught up and say, well, all right, I messed up, but you know, you did this, so you know, I feel like I'm a little bit better than you. Instead of lining ourselves up with God, right, standing in the mirror saying, all right, comparing ourselves to God, we tend to compare ourselves to other people. Like, oh, well, he fornicated, you know, I stole something, you know, he fornicated, he was married, so you know, at least I ain't do that. When all sin is the same in God's eyesight. Yeah. So instead of comparing ourselves to God, we say, well, so and so doing this, so and so doing that. So we feel like, all right, well, my sin wasn't that big, so I'm kind of justified in what I did. Instead of lining up with the word and standing truthfully in the mirror, looking at ourselves. A lot of times we know what we do wrong. You know, we don't study like we're supposed. We know we don't pray like we're supposed to. Pastor say, hey, every Sunday, 9 o'clock early morning prayer. We know what time early morning prayer starts. And like, I was guilty myself. I go to sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning. Pepsi say, hey, we need you at the job at 5 o'clock for a meeting. I was up at 5 o'clock like that. 4 o'clock to be at the meeting at 5. But then on Sunday, it's like, oh, I can't get up at 8 o'clock to be at the church at 9. So a lot of times we just have to be real with ourselves and, like you say, really fearing God and, hey, dealing with the issue.
Yeah, that's true.
it's nothing better than brothers coming together, dialogue, and something that we need. And this is a time that we need to be together and come together as one jointly, you know, doing the Lord's work. You know, it's a critical time nowadays. I mean, the world don't love us, so we gotta love each other. You know, and I appreciate my brothers. You know, we had a good dialogue. You know, some brothers talk too much, but sometimes you need that. You know, and I love to hear what these brothers got to say. You know, I appreciate everything, and you know, hopefully we can carry this journey on, you know, and do what the Lord has called us to do. I mean, it's just real talk. I mean, that's just how, you know, just how hard I'm feeling. You know what I'm saying? But this is the time of day, you know. SMBC Takeover Ministry. I mean, I love my brothers. It's a good time. What's the dialogue?
Hey, I really appreciate the whole conversation between me and the brothers. I really think that it brought about unity, and also gave us the opportunity to basically, you know, come together and build a stronger bond between the brothers. A lot of times, you know, sometimes we get caught up in pride, and you know, we feel like the trust is not there and the level of integrity is not there. But I really think the conversation on the night helped us, you know, in a special way, and it's going to help us in the future to especially to be able to lead this ministry the way God wants us to lead it, and how and the vision that that's laid upon Pastor Hart, and I really think Pastor looking for us to step up to the plate. And I really, like I said, I really appreciate this whole meeting, and I just want to say, man, I love y'all. You know, you just know that I'm here for y'all, man. Drake, Lionel, Jason, Mr. Smith, Reverend Paul, all y'all. I just want to let you know that I love y'all, man, and anytime y'all need me, man, I'm here for y'all.
I feel like this was a great discussion that the brothers had together. You know, a lot was talked about, a lot was said. We got a lot accomplished. We all know that we do need to get